Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Cox, the Director of the Naval History and Heritage Command. I very much regret that I'm not able to participate in person in this great event that's going on today. I'd very much like to. Came up with a bum leg, and taking luggage through an airport isn't going to work. But before I get going, I'd like to put a picture up, which hopefully you can see now. That's me in my office talking to some Naval Academy midshipmen about the attack on Pearl Harbor. But if you look over my desk, you'll see a painting, and that painting is the Hornet under attack by Japanese kamikaze. I first saw that painting in one of my dad's books when I was a kid, and I've had some version of it with me throughout my entire naval career. And I keep it over my desk for a couple reasons. You know, one, anytime I start feeling sorry for myself for having a bad day, I look at that painting and go, well, no, not really. I recalibrate myself for people who are actually having a bad day. But there's a lot going on in that painting that I think captures the essence of warfare, which is fundamentally a test of wills. As it depicts Hornet off of Okinawa. And at that time of the war, we had an incredible intelligence advantage over the Japanese. We knew what time and what airfield those kamikaze raids were coming from. And those raids were met by technologically superior and in terms and numbers of fighter aircraft, radar directed, and still some of them came through. And then they went through the densest concentration of anti-aircraft fire in the history of warfare, to be honest, and still some of them came through. And only the physical destruction of the aircraft is going to stop that pilot from accomplishing his mission, because the only thing he wants to do more than live is to not let his country down. But at the same time, if you look at the ship, you'll see that every gun on the Hornet, on that ship, is still firing. They're still trying to launch aircraft. You can see that going on. The flight deck crew is only ducking for cover at the last possible instant, but none of the gunners are backing down or running because the only thing they want to do more than live is not let their shipmates down. And they're going to keep firing, even the ones who think they're going to die in the straps on those guns. Now, in the real event that took place that this painting depicts, the aircraft actually clipped the flight deck and went into the water, causing minimal damage and no deaths. But again, it was because of the courage and valor and steadfastness of those sailors who their resolve was every bit as great as that pilot. And I use that example when I'm talking to audiences in the Navy of the importance of what it means to not let your shipmates down. And the Hornet is a great example of that. At Naval History and Heritage Command, my fundamental mission is to tell an accurate story about the history of the United States Navy to as many people as we can possibly reach. And I don't do that just for history's sake. We are a Navy command. We have a Navy mission, and the whole point is to enhance the warfighting readiness of the United States Navy. And the Hornet, from my view, is a force multiplier for my mission. But when you look at the mission, you can divide it into a couple components, one of which is moral and the other is practical. And the moral is that, if we expect sailors to fight and die for this country, the least we can do is remember them. And at every memorial service for sailors lost in battle or lost at sea, we make the promise to their families that we will not forget. And it's my fundamental mission to make sure that the Navy, keeps that promise. On the practical side, there's to pass down the lessons learned by the Hornet the hard way in blood, so that those are not forgotten. Another key component is to use the legacy of valor to inspire those who serve today and those who serve in the future, knowing they are upholding the honor of those who came before, that they're standing on the shoulders of those who have done pretty amazing things. I mean, Hornet, aircraft on the Hornet, 688 aircraft shot down during the war, the most of any aircraft carrier. None of that was easy, none of it was without sacrifice. But then the third component is to continue to have the support of the American people. There have been times in our history where we let the nation let the Navy decline. And we paid for it in blood at the start of wars by not being ready. And if we're going to have the Navy the nation needs in the future, and I was 33 years as an intelligence officer, and when I look out to any alternative future that you can think of, I'm glad I'm not an intelligence officer anymore because it's pretty scary. We will need a strong Navy. And there have been times in the past where the Navy nation let the Navy decline. And it wasn't because the nation couldn't afford a strong Navy, it's because we chose not to afford a strong Navy. So every person that we can reach within the United States to demonstrate what the Navy has done for them in the past so they understand what the Navy can do for their future is important to the future readiness, warfighting readiness of the United States Navy. And to my view, that's where our museums come in, that's where Hornet comes in. That's where everyone involved with this museum ship, the Hornet, is still contributing to the defense of the United States of America. Because everyone who comes to that ship and gets a taste of what the Navy did and the valor and sacrifice, and not just warfighting, but the Hornet was involved in, the moonshots, recovering Apollo 11, Apollo 12. There's incredible inspiration that can be gained. And any, young kid that comes aboard that ship, back in 1964, there was a 7-year-old kid named Sam Cox who went aboard the battleship North Carolina in Wilmington, and that was the coolest thing I ever did on summer vacation. And so, here, 47 years of service later, here I am. So what the Hornet does makes a difference. And I deeply appreciate everyone involved with the operation. I deeply appreciate everyone who has come together for this particular event. And as I said at the beginning, I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a great event. Thank you.